Hello everyone, good afternoon, and welcome to my webinar live from sunny Devon. And I hope it's lovely and sunny where you are too. And certainly by the end of the next, I'm guessing about 45 minutes, might even be an hour, might be slightly less, I hope to bring a little sunshine to you as well. So we are going to rattle on because I've got loads to share with you and I'm really excited about today. So off we go. Today, you're going to discover how to make journalists desperate to use your material, which absolutely is what all us PRs want, and I'm guessing what you all want as well. I'm now already come up against a problem. I can't now move my slides, so off we go. Here we go. I'm off and running. So who am I? I know several names I recognise come onto this today, so I think a lot of you know who I am already. But just for those who don't, I have been a PR consultant for, oh my God, over 32 years. I've worked for business-to-business clients, business-to-consumer clients, globally. I've worked in Australia, I've worked in Luxembourg, I've worked in London, and for the last couple of years, I've been working in Devon. So I run Marvelous PR, which is a consultancy, a straightforward PR consultancy where we do all the PR for you, from the strategy right through to writing the press releases, talking to the journalists and doing all the liaison for you. But also, and most importantly for me, because I'm passionate about it, we help small businesses to do it themselves, providing loads of tools and training courses and webinars and whatever, and give you confidence to do it yourself. We absolutely become a major part of a client's marketing team because PR works so brilliantly alongside other marketing tools and makes it all work harder. And our clients say we are a major contribution to their continuing sales success, which is why I want you to learn all about this and do it yourselves. Let's have a little look. From 2013 onwards, I launched my first PR toolkit. So I've been helping people from 2013. The whole essence of it is to demystify PR because it's confusing. There's too much talked about, too much rubbish talked about it, to be honest. And really, there is a very straightforward, simple way of getting into the media, and I want to teach it to you. I've worked with literally over 1,000 business owners since 2013. I've got now a lovely big database of people who get free weekly advice from me. And again, I can see that several of the people with us today get that advice on a weekly basis. And I know lots of people use it and they do get success, which is fantastic. And I've done masses of workshops and seminars and masterminds, and I absolutely love it. I love seeing people going from literally kind of in the shadows under a log and coming out and having the press using them on a regular basis. I love it. And this webinar, I reckon, is going to bring out more fantastic success stories, and I'd love you to share them with me after you've listened to this, taken notes, and gone away and done something about it. So let's have a look at what we're going to discover today. A big thing is preventing those limiting beliefs that I reckon you will all have from sabotaging your business. You really mustn't let certain things, which we'll get to in a second, get in the way of stopping you to working with journalists and getting that amazing third-party endorsement, which is skyrocketing other people around you. We're going to look at the habits used by the top 20% of businesses in your market who dominate the media. We're going to look at what they do and therefore what you should be doing. And we're also going to look at why that 80% fail and they don't get their journalists publishing their submissions. And I would hate to think that any of you lot are amongst that. And then we're going to look at the simplest and most effective formula you can have right now to get those journalists desperate to use your material. So let's get going. Now, does this ring any bells? Oh my God. At the moment, there is so much being talked about. There's so much rubbish. I see it all over social media. Oh, you know, this is what you should be doing. These are the editors you should be talking to. You should be talking to bloggers. You should be doing it all the time. You should be on Twitter. You should be, what's your page ranking, blah, blah, blah. And I think we end up like this, don't we? Going, oh, it's too much. It's too noisy. I can't do it. I just don't know what to do. And of course, then in that situation, I'm afraid we get these coming up, and I'm wondering if any of you have felt this. Oh, I can't do anything because I'm not interesting enough, or I don't have any contacts, or it's going to cost a lot of money, which obviously people think when you employ a PR, but you can do it yourself. There's always the fear of technology. Oh my God, how am I going to get these press releases out? And also, as I say, there's a lot of stuff talked at the moment on social media about, oh, well, you can use this software or this website. It's just too complicated. And then the big one, which is you don't want to be boastful. We are English and we like to be, we don't like to push ourselves. And I think a lot of you who know me well will know that my strapline is the Marvellous PR is teaching you how to tell the world how marvellous you are without being boastful. And that's what PR is all about. But because we worry about being boastful, we often don't get on and even do it. And why would you do PR anyway? So now this is really important. I want you to think about who are the businesses in the top 20% of your sector. We all know the 80-20 rule, and we all know that what means that you have 20% of people who have 80% of the business. They are getting 80% of the money. Who are these people in your sector? And how did they get there? And how do they stay there? Well, I have to tell you, they will all be using PR. They will be working with journalists, and they'll have journalists desperate to use their material because they've worked out completely who their customers' influencers are. Who are the people that their customers are going to for their information? They've worked out how to get in front of those influencers, and how they've managed that is that they found the journalists in their favourite media and got them talking about them. And those top 20% are doing that. And I have to say, this is your man. This is who you should be following. We all know that he has quite famously said that a page of editorial is far more valuable than a full page ad. He absolutely knows that getting people talking about you is far more powerful than doing it yourself. And he knows where to, basically Richard Branson will come up with so many publicity stunts and ways of getting into different parts of the media, which we're going to look at today. I'm going to show you how you can do that too. So you absolutely need to do the same. And you can, if I show you how now. Because with my help, you really can get that media coverage that you deserve, which then means that you can push your competitors out to one side. You'll warm up. I'm not sure whether you know what this means, but you'll speed up rather your know, like, and trust process with potential customers. And we all know that we should be doing that it takes customers, I don't know, some people say it's 7 touches, some people say it's 12 touches, 12 times of seeing you before they buy you. Well, if you don't use PR, if you don't work with journalists, those 12 times it's going to be you ringing them up, sending them a letter, sending them an email, arranging a meeting. But if you use PR, you can get, the journalists are putting you out there. They're the ones who are providing the touches, which your potential customers will see. And of course, you have masses more credibility because the journalists in your top publication that your customers go to, because that's their influencer, they will think, blimey, if that journalist's writing about him, he must be good, or she must be good. And of course, the end result is that you will make more money and you will get the money that you deserve, which at the moment is going to your competitors in that top 20%. And we don't want that. I'm going to show you how you can do it with me with this Shadows to Spotlight formula that I have just created. It is the simplest and most targeted way of getting in front of journalists that I've ever found. And I'm going to tell you about that later. So, and if here's me helping you today, but if you really need extra help doing this, or I'll let you know at the end, I'll give you a few more resources. Now, I think you might need to take notes now. I think you might want to take notes now. The strategies that the top 20% employ that you need to do now. First of all, they wedge 3 tennis balls into their mouth. No, they don't. They look at who they are. They look at their talent. And you need to be doing this too. So you need to work out, what is your story? Why do you want PR? And who or what do you want journalists to pick up? What's your elevator pitch? What do you do? What do you sell? What's your area of expertise? You need, I mean, it sounds bad, but you absolutely need to know exactly what it is, because some people can't tell you what they do. They can't, they're confused. They can't give you their proper elevator pitch. You need to work out absolutely hard and fast. And those people in the top 20%, they know exactly who they are, and they know exactly what they do. And they demonstrate their expertise. How do you demonstrate your expertise? I mean, what credentials do you have for doing your business? Are you specially qualified at anything? Are you have you been doing this for a long time? Who else is in your story? Do you have a business partner? Do you have employees? Do you have different areas of expertise? Do you want PR to elevate yourself or the business as a whole? And are you showcasing anyone else? Are you creating content? And if you are, where are you creating it? And how often are you creating it? And can you use this content in any of your, in any of your PR? But also kind of what is it that you're trying to do, and who are you out there? The next thing you need to look at is your target audience. And now I know people bang on about this all the time in marketing, and that you know who your client is. I'm sure you have worked out your client avatar, but this is bigger than this, and it's deeper than this, and you need to look really carefully. The top 20% in your market will know other reasons, other target audience. Perhaps you and your business are perhaps you're looking for a buyer for your business. Perhaps you want to exit it sometime, and therefore you want people to know you and to know you personally as an expert. So now you'll want that's a different target audience to your regular customers buying your products and services. You might want investors. You might want people to attract people to come put money into your business. And again, that's a completely different audience to your buyer. And it's a completely different audience to the person who's buying your products and services. You may want to bring in the top recruits, which actually I would think everybody does. So again, you're going to be wanting to you're going to be wanting to look at a completely different audience and have a completely different message for that audience. Then you're also going to want, and this is always the tricky one, you're going to want to work out who are the people who are influencing these people. Who are the people that they are who they listen to? And you want to be in front of them. Now, a little example here. Years ago, I was asked to go and do the PR for the most expensive house in London. Amazing. And it was being sold, I think, for 50 million. And there was a big team of us, and I was the PR person. So we sat down and we worked out, okay, so who is going to buy this 50 million pound house? We don't know them, and we're never going to bump into them. There's going to be some oligarch. And where on earth what does an oligarch read? Where does an oligarch hang out? We don't know. So we decided to target the influencers who were his hairdresser, his accountant, his lawyer, his possibly like the concierge housekeeper type person, the person who hangs out with them all the time, the chauffeur. And we got articles in the broadsheets and in things like Evening Standard, and there wasn't the Metro in those days, but we aimed at that level rather than the terribly glamorous magazines that we didn't even know whether he'd read, and we sold it. So, food for thought. Oh, no, something's happened again with my thingy here. There we go. We're working now. Okay, the next thing we need to think about is the dreaded media question. And as I say, the top 20% in your market will have worked this out, and they will have it targeted. So what I want you to do is to think about all the different types of media that you could get yourself into. Here they all are, like local, obviously local and regional, national, which is, national newspapers and national magazines, consumer magazines, trade. All of you will have a trade press, which is important. Again, you see that maybe the company that buys you will read about you in the trade press. Maybe that's important to them, that you're an expert quoted in the trade press of your business. Loads of blogs, and I'll get on to in a minute how you're going to find all these. Everything has an online version and website, lots of websites. local TV and radio, national TV and radio, if you think you can get there. And what you need to do is to work out where you fit in, because every one of these categories will have different articles within them. For example, in a national press and the local press, they've all got a business page. They'll have a ladies page. They'll have a page of events. They'll obviously have the news section. That some of them will have sports pages, health pages, property pages, and you've got to try and get yourself into the right place, because the more relevant you are to the journalist, the more likely you are to be used, and also the clearer your message is, which the journalist is then going to put out. I hope that makes sense. So again, there's a lot of these things that you need to look into, and I'll get on to how you can find them. Here's finding some. There's a lot of online directories at the moment. So here's a lovely one to find out what blogs are being written. All Top I've used a lot to get some nice articles that I send out on social media. I always tell my clients and the people I work with doing their own PR, we do it for our clients, set up some Google alerts for what's happening in your industry. Follow those top 20% of people. See where information about what you do and what you want to get into, where you want to get into, where is it being mentioned? So, is there somebody in the Times who's writing about relocation, or is there someone in the Daily Mail who's writing about cake baking? If you set those alerts up, you'll start to see. There's also another website that I was pointed in the direction of the other day. Here's another one that just tells you about all the different press out there. This is a wonderful one, which I would absolutely recommend you note down and get onto after this. Basically, for anyone who hasn't heard of this, on Twitter, journalists, when they ask for information for their articles, put at the end #journo_request. Well, a lot of them do, some of them don't, but it is quite a sort of regular thing that they all do. And you can therefore search a list of #journo requests and see what they're asking for on a regular basis. Now, if you were really on top of your game, you'd be doing that all the time, because you never know, do you, when they're going to put the next one in. So and also you don't know when it's going to be relevant to you. But this wonderful company has set up at the journorequest.com. You sign up for it. It's a monthly fee, and they send, and you select the categories that you're interested in, and they will then send the alerts straight to your inbox as soon as they appear on Twitter, which means that you can then jump on those alerts. It might say, looking for a case study of somebody who's just moved to Devon for the Daily Mail. Oh, and you could write in, well, I could write in and say, hey, I've just moved to Devon. I'll be your case study. And I know loads of people who've got great coverage that way. Plus, you can then start you've got that contact to start a nice relationship with. Now, if you put in that, if you log on to that, they give me and my tribe a 30% discount. So you'll get it for £10.50 a month as opposed to £15 a month. So I would absolutely recommend you get onto that. Two more professional databases which you have to pay for are Response Source and a professional media database, both of which we use, and I'll tell you more about them later on. But the first one, the Response Source, again tells you alerts of the journalists put in their requests for articles. That's much bigger actually than a Journo request, and it's a brilliant tool, but it costs a lot of money. And similarly, the media database tells you every journalist, every blogger, what they do, how they want information, where they come from, what they're passionate about, where they're writing at the moment, and that you have to subscribe to. But I'll get on to that later on. So our next category that we need to look at when we are trying to be like the top 20% is, sorry about this, but it appealed to my rather bizarre sense of humor. You need to be super media appealing. You need to be over and above your competitors who all do the same thing as you. We've worked out your first category was who are you, your talent, what do you do? But basically, you are probably going to do pretty much the same as other people in your niche. But what makes you special? And what gets you appealing to those journalists so they desperately want to use you? Well, let's have a look. These are the questions to ask yourself. Your category of one. I'm sure a lot of you have thought about this before. Are you the window cleaner with the biggest smile? Are you the bathroom supplier for Devon, or the only print manager in Birmingham? Are you something completely which is just you, and you need to be really looking at what sets you apart from your competitors? One thing we talk to our clients about are these two questions, and I would really urge you to write them down and to give yourself some time after this to really analyze them. What are you passionate about? And what interesting and controversial opinions do you have? I chatted to someone last week about this who said, "Ooh, am I allowed to be controversial?" I said, "Of course you are. You know, you're a lovely, polite and nice person, so you won't come over as being horrible. But if you put yourself in the shoes of your journalist, they want interesting things. They want their stories to come alive, and they want people out there who can gloss them up, who can paint them up for them. And it'll be you. If you can come on the other side of an argument and say, no, actually, that isn't right, and I'm going to stand by that, a journalist will really listen to you. And let me give you a little example about being passionate about something. I, as a lot of you might know, am passionate about the Archers. I know, I've put my hand up to this, but there we are, and I know I'm not alone. And several years ago, I was trying to get through to the editor of the property section of the Sunday Times, who was well known to be a bitch of massive extremes, a really, really difficult woman. And I kept ringing up and saying, started my pitch. She put the phone down. Amazingly, I was lucky enough to sit next to her at an event. And again, she didn't want to talk to me. I was so unimportant. She wasn't interested. But I managed to get onto, for some reason, which I normally do. I think I probably put on one of my accents like that, so I was one of the actors. And she said, "Oh, you sound like Eddie Grundy." And I would have said, "Oh, Eddie Grundy, don't you start talking to me about Eddie Grundy." Anyway, we went on and on about the Archers. And at the end of it, she said goodbye. She said, "So enjoyed meeting you, Lucy." And I thought, oh, hello. So the next day, I ring her up with my pitch, which actually was a little bit of a weedy pitch on behalf of one of my clients. We didn't have much legs for our story, but I thought, I'll give it a go now. And I said, "Karen, it's Lucy." And she went, "Yes." And I said, "You remember, you met me yesterday." And I said, "About the Archers." And she went, "Oh, Lucy, yes. What fun. Wasn't it a good event?" Blah, blah, blah. And then we went on, we chatted about the episode the night before, and Bob's your uncle. I then slipped in after that. "Anyway, Karen, I've got a quick story idea for you." And it ended up that we got it run. Now, if you can do the same thing, if you can be passionate about something and you can start looking for journalists who are talking about the same thing. We find that on this amazing database we have, because it does tell us what our journalists are interested in. But I would really recommend you follow them on Twitter. And in a minute I'm going to tell you what a very simple to simplify this down. But for the time being, just think about what you're passionate about and what you can actually also perhaps use that in talking about your business, making yourself a bit more personal too. And with all that, having thought about what makes you special, your category of one, what sets you apart from your competitors, you need to do this. And I have to say, this is what I love about PR. To me, it is a puzzle. Because basically now you've worked out who you want to influence. So that target audience that isn't just your customer avatar. You've worked out where they go to for their information, as in what are the best publications, what's the best media that you can go to and get yourself seen in, get yourself talked about in. And you've realized also, as I said, that in that media, there are lots of different bits. So, for example, if you're a lady running a cake shop, you could, in national and local press and the regional press, and there'll be several websites for this as well. There's probably a section for your products, so you can have your cakes put out, featured in that. There might be a section for business news, and you might have got a new shop, or you've got won an award or something in a business thing. So you might be able to put your story in there, but also you're a woman. So maybe you want to go to the sort of female section and say, you know, can you do an article on what it's like to be a woman running her own cake business, for example. And that you will get so much pleasure when you've worked out how to get yourself into this press. And it, as I say, it's a crossword thing. Now, the other thing I think I skipped over, actually, which I shouldn't have done, is to say, when you are looking at your media, really work out what are the best ones, because that's when you get confused, when you're told, oh my God, you've got to be in every single one of the national newspapers, or you've got to be in every single business website. No, you don't, because what you need to do is to get onto them, really research them and work out which are the ones that are the closest fit to your target audience, the ones that you reckon your target audience will be using as their influencer. And that will narrow it right down. You might end up with one local, one national, one television program, one website, which then, brings down your workload. And that's what I really, really want to get across today. I want to simplify everything for you. So now I have 3 tips right now that you can take away and use for yourself this afternoon to make yourself more super appealing to those journalists and have them using your stories. Now, when I say join in with another company, what I mean is what you're trying to do is to give a journalist a really good story. If you just go and say, for example, hi, well, I'm an interior designer and I can give you a lovely case study of someone who's just done up a holiday home to look like, I don't know what, holiday home to look like the Maldives or something, and yet it's in Cornwall. They might go, well, great, but is that all I'm going to get? Well, but if you were to say, well, and actually I could, but I'm also going to show you, I can show you how to get that look, but I can also bring in a furniture manufacturer who can say what sort of furniture you need for that, and maybe a carpet distributor for what sort of carpet you need, and maybe we can talk to a paint manufacturer to say the sort of paints that you need when you live in a house in Cornwall. Do you see what I mean? Basically, you're making it bigger, and you need to take the ego out of this and think, well, you might be thinking, but I don't want to share this article. I've got a great angle. I don't want someone else stealing my thunder. But in fact, what you'll find is that the journalist will respect you, and you brought the story in the first place. You'll get the lion's share of the credit and the coverage, but the journalists will also be unbelievably grateful because they won't have to go off and find these things for themselves to make your story more valuable. So I would urge you to think laterally after this and think, who could you in your business go and join in with to make a really good story? Always, always, always add the human interest element. That's hugely important. All of you should be writing testimonials, case studies from a testimonial all the time, and we do it constantly for clients. And a journalist will always say, well, great angle, but let me have what's the example? Give me someone who's just done this or has overcome that problem. And that will make you super appealing. And the bigger range of case studies you have, the better. Because you could go to a journalist with an angle and say, I'm thinking of doing X, Y, and Z. And I have 3 different types of case studies. I've got an older person, a younger person, a man, a woman, a couple, a retiree. And it just gives their story more colour. And then this is one I think I probably brushed on earlier, but I cannot stress it highly enough. If you want to make yourself super appealing to journalists and have them desperate to use your stuff, you need to respect them and really understand what know their publications. It's not enough to say, oh, well, I know the Daily Telegraph. I know who reads that. You need to read it from cover to cover regularly. You need to know exactly what articles go where. You need to how it's put together, and the same for the websites you want to be on, for the blogs that you'd like to be mentioned in. You need to be reading them again and again and again, so that when you do approach the journalist with your story, you can say, look, Jane, I know you like to write about retirees, and I've got this amazing idea that I know your readers would like to read about. And then nothing pisses them off more than getting a pitch, an email pitch to them, which basically doesn't tell them anything about the news angle, and just says, we thought you'd like this. When I have a journalist who works in the property media who gets stuff about sort of beauty because they haven't bothered to even work out what he does. And not only is it, it's rude, and journalists are human beings, and we should be out there to help them. They're not paying us. No money is exchanging hands. You are being helpful. So, sorry, I'm on a little bit of a soapbox here, but I shall move on now. You'll be pleased to hear. Now, we've now looked at how the top 20 in your sector get that coverage and stay there because they get journalists writing about them. Let's look at why the others, the 80%, and let's just hope it's not you, in your sector fail to get that good coverage. Now, I have written thousands and thousands of press releases. I have spoken to thousands of journalists. I've been in this for over 30 years, over 32 years. And I have worked out why they don't work, because also I've worked with a lot of people who are getting it wrong. The first thing is that they are not newsworthy. The number of press releases I read, even now, even working with people, where the news angle is right at the end, if there at all. And also, when I talk about being relevant, I mean like my property journalist who gets stuff about beauty. It's just rude. You cannot send things to people on the hope that, with the big phrase, if I throw enough mud at it, a little bit will stick. No, it won't now. It doesn't work like that in proper getting relationships with journalists. It doesn't work. So it's because they're not newsworthy or they're not relevant. And they're not written properly, I should add to that. That's why they're not newsworthy, because they're written in a garbled, messy way, and the journalist cannot be bothered to find the news angle. Also, what I've realised is that a lot of people, when they do their own PR, just send one press release out for their campaign and then get cross because it hasn't been used. And that's it. It's a disaster. I'm not doing it again. Just one, bloody hell. They have, excuse my language, the journalists get hundreds of emails a day, hundreds of press releases a day. And if it doesn't work straight away, then it's up to you, and the top 20% will do this, to rejig it, to revamp it, try a different angle for the same campaign, but let's try another way. Like I was saying, let's go for a different part of the newspaper. Maybe we do the female angle rather than just the products. So you've got to be, we say you should be doing 4 or 5 press releases per campaign. Absolutely. And then you see, without all of that, the journalists don't feel special. They think you're blitzing them, which was something I spoke to someone about last week. You must not blitz them. And this is, again, you'll get confused because people tell you on social media that there are all these websites now who will send your press releases out for you. I will send it to 20,000 people, with guaranteed coverage. Well, you might get guaranteed coverage on Mortgage Owners Today website or something, but what good's that when you're looking for recruits for your florist shop? It's great. These websites that mass distribute press releases, they don't care where your stuff goes. They just care that you've got a bit of coverage, and it's a waste of time and a waste of money. So the great thing is that you want journalists to feel special. You want them to have exclusives. You want them to think, gosh, you've come to me with this. That's very nice. I'm therefore going to use you again, and I really like you. And then they will be desperate to use your stuff. So let's look at what we've covered, what we've learned thus far. The top 20% of businesses definitely use PR to get there. And hopefully you can see why, because it is a lovely, subtle and constant way of getting you in the spotlight. And I'm afraid their competitors, the 80%, possibly even you, will stay in the shadows, because if you're not approaching the journalists in the way that those top 20% are, in their laser targeted way, they're not going to come and find you. They don't care about you, sadly. The top 20% know exactly who influences their target audience, and therefore which media they should be seen in. And that's really important for you to hone down. They laser target them, which is what I mean by saying, okay, within that, so they'll say, okay, we need to be in the, let's take my property world, for example. So they'll say, okay, we need to be in the property trade press. So which trade press is the best? Okay, we need to be in Estates Gazette. And who's the journalist in Estates Gazette that writes about residential like me? Yes, Graham Norwood. And that's, as you can say, you see, it comes easily to me for that, because that's what we do for a living for our clients. And that's what you need to be doing. And they help their journalists. They keep going. They keep sending things every month. They find different ways to approach them, which is what I want to help you with again today. They're trying to keep stories coming into your head, and angles need to be occurring to you all the time, so that you can go, oh, actually, there's an idea. And that's what those top 20% of people will do. They just keep going back to the journalist. They'll have a campaign, and they'll have loads of different angles within that campaign to make sure they eventually get the coverage that they want. So I guess I have a big question for you. Do you want to be in that 20%? Indeed. Are you there already? How lovely is that? And do you want to get your business, therefore, into the spotlight? And I'm guessing that you've come on this webinar, you will want to do that. And hey, isn't this cool? It is time that you enjoyed this amazing feeling. What is it? It's when you first see yourself in the publication that you have been aiming for. It is an amazing feeling. You've done it. You're there. You are the expert. Your customers are seeing you. People are ringing you up. They're saying, oh my God, I see you quoted in the so-and-so. People are reading about you. It is, apart from anything else, it is the most amazing feeling. You need to have that feeling, even if you only do PR and get involved with journalists for that feeling. It is fantastic. And so I've been looking at how I can help you. How can I help you? In my role as a PR with a load of experience, I could handhold and support you through it and help you to learn what to do. I can keep you accountable, which is a massive, I mean, I know that for myself. I've just done a complete course with a mentor, and being kept accountable was very, very important. I had to end up working all weekend once because I hadn't done what I was supposed to do. And we will just, excuse our language, JFDI together. I have helped thousands of people, as I say here, to this, so I know I can do it. I could help you by giving you access to the tools and the skills and the tricks and the trade that we use every day in Marvelous PR. We have a lot of clients. There's 6 of us working all the time, and we've got the stuff. I could help you. I could help you with that. I have a lot of experience, as I've said, and actually anyone who knows me well, and what I've actually realized over the last 3 years, helping people do it themselves and going on like mastermind events and being sort of, I have to go ting, 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 get ideas quickly. I'm really good at coming up with angles. I can see them. I might not be good at much else, can't cook, but I can see angles and I can therefore help generate a good steady flow of coverage. That's something that I do in the teams that I'm in within Marvelous PR. And therefore, with my help, I could get you working with journalists like the top 20%. And we would definitely avoid those mistakes, because I hate them. I hate the fact that those mistakes are there in the first place. So that's what I could do for you. And I would like to introduce you to this formula, my Shadows to Spotlight formula that I've been working on for the last few months, which I believe is the best tool I've ever created. And I absolutely think it's the thing to get you going and to get rid of all the noise. What is it? Sorry for all the words, but you need to see it. It is basically taking out the noise and the clutter. It's demystifying what PR is all about and how to get to those journalists. It basically is getting you to create a strategy for approaching and working with journalists, which will clarify everything and make it easy, simple, and less time consuming, and therefore you will get success from it. So because I'm running PR campaigns all the time for the clients, for my current clients, I do know what's working and what isn't. And the formula will have that in it, has got it in it rather. You won't be muddled with oh, well, you could try this, or you could try that. No. We'll only look at what works. And I can tell you, if you do follow it and you do put it into practice, you do have to do that. You do have to do something every month. You will get amazing results. And in a minute, I'll show you some fantastic results people who've been working with me recently have got, which is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And it will bring money in, as you'll see. And I want to get you thinking like a PR, which probably some people will go, God, if I'm thinking like Lucy, I don't think that's a very good idea. But I genuinely do. I listen to here's the thing for you. You need to be listening to the news first thing in the morning. The best thing to do is what I do. I wake up to the Today programme. Yes. And between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, you get the news. Any news that's going to break that day will be broken on the Today programme. So if you hear things, and I've done this loads of times for clients, I listen, I think, bloody hell, we could do something on that. You can then take that bit of news that's broken today and approach the journalist that you've been working with on your other in your other platforms, a local journalist or a trade journalist or a consumer journalist, and say, look, they've done a thing today on, and what were they doing today? Something about cholesterol levels and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe you've just come up with a recipe, which is for your cakes, which is great for people with high cholesterol. And the journalist will love you because you're basically saying, look, here's the news angle. What you and I could write a lovely article. It'll be lovely and current. Your editors will love you. Let's get it going. And I've done that several times. I'm always ringing up Jeremy Vine. Well, obviously not personally, but Jeremy's researcher, because if you hear it first thing in the morning, then they will prepare their program, their lunchtime program, which for those of you who don't listen to Jeremy Vine is Radio 2 at lunchtime. They're preparing that first thing in the morning at like 9 o'clock. So if you go in and go, hey, blimey, we've got this and that, and I've got someone you could talk to about this, they'll love you. And they will come back to you again and again and again. So my formula will teach you how to do that. Let's have a look and see what it covers. It's basically 4 modules, because it's the 4 modules we've looked at. It is talent, it is media, it is audience, and it is appeal. But with tons more. I mean, as you can tell, I've rattled through that. There's way, way more to it than what I've given you today. 4 modules live over 4 weeks. And then there'll be recordings and transcripts and audios available for you to use whenever you want. We're going to really, the program makes you drill down into all these questions, which are the questions that we ask of our clients when they come on board. This is, we do this, a mini version of, in order to prepare our PR strategies. And I want you to do it in real detail, because I want you to get rid of the muddle and come out with a really laser targeted strategy. And then once you've got that strategy, which we will get over those 4 weeks, you can then roll it out and have the best chance of success with journalists. And then what you'll have with this strategy will be to focus, as I was saying, on only a few top journalists in your market, just like those 20% do, because then you've got time. You're not thinking, oh God, I've got hundreds of people to ring up all the time. No, you've probably got about 4 or 5. And I know people, and I've certainly done it myself. We have a list of journalists that are writing in things every week in the national press, and we ring them up every Monday. Or with mine, you know, I ring them when they want me to. They might not want me on a Monday, but you know, we certainly, when we say hello, what are you doing this week? How are you? And it doesn't have to be a long thing, but they'll say, oh gosh, funny enough, I was doing something on whatever, retirement or something. Lucy, have you got anything for that? And I'll go, oh, yes, okay. And then you pull in that other thing I was telling you about. Let's look at another company as well. So you might think, gosh, I could do something on retirement, but it would be a much better story if I brought so-and-so in. So you ring up your contact. Would you be interested in being in this article? Oh, yes, please. And you go back to the journalist. Hey, I've got it for you. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. So you will focus on having a few top journalists in your market to give you real clarity, and will make your strategy will work out what message you're going to give them, because you'll have worked out your talent, who you are, what you do, and what your message is. Our strategy will work out the best way to deliver that message, because we'll have worked out how to write it, how the journalists you want like it delivered to them. we'll get you the best contact details for the journalist. So you're not wasting your time sending it to some info at email address or editor at. It'll go direct to them. And we'll have their phone numbers and the way that they want it sent to them. And we'll also, your strategy will also work out the best frequency of communication. So you'll have a timeline and you'll know how often you should be sending things and what those things should be. So the massive benefit of this strategy is that you can save yourself time, save yourself massive frustration, and you won't be talking to masses of people. You'll be talking to only a few, and they'll be special. And the result, I can guarantee it, if you do it, I have hastened to add, will be better relationships and better coverage for you. Plus, in the formula, you'll get, we'll have a 30-minute call straight away, just you and I, working out really where you're at and what your plans are, so you can make the most profitable use of the formula. And over the 4 weeks that we'll work together, you'll have unlimited email access to me. And we can always schedule a call if needed. And any of you who do know me, and I know there are quite a few on this webinar today, you'll know that I'm always up for helping, and I love it. And I'm always up for a chat and a brainstorm. So if you come into my Shadows to Spotlight formula, you have access to me like that. And then, of course, there'll be loads of opportunities to ask questions in the weekly webinars. These are the dates of the Shadows to Spotlight webinars, just for your information now. There's one in June. They start in June, then it's 3 in July. And just a summary, this is the contents. It basically is, this is what we've talked about, but it's basically how to hone your story, what makes you interesting, your story, what we brought you into PR, what content you're creating, which we could use for PR. How to define your markets, who is it, I'll help you work out who those proper target audiences are and who the influencers are of those. Again, we'll really look at the media. Is it blogs? Is it national? Is it trade? Is it everything? Which ones should you be really focusing on? And then, of course, how you can become super attractive. And we are aiming for focus, clarity, and simplicity because we're all too busy. And I am convinced that a lot of people don't do PR because they are too busy and they therefore don't try. But if you have a very simple, clear plan, I reckon you'll do it. Now, the total package for you today with that, which is the 4 step-by-step course showing you how to create and implement this laser-targeted PR strategy to get journalists desperate to work with you, is £1,500. However, that's not all for today, because I really, really want to help you not make those mistakes like the 80% in your sector that we talked about. And do you remember what they were? They were not being newsworthy or relevant. I really don't want you doing that. I really don't want you not communicating regularly enough because you can't think what to say and you've only done one press release and you only got time for it anyway and he hasn't run it. Oh, that would be terrible. And worse, you mustn't get journalists feeling that they're not special and you upsetting them. So I really don't want that. And so what I've done is to come up with what I believe is a no-brainer offer to help you. So that on top of all that content and all that help with the Shadows to Spotlight formula, I want to give you some expert support packages, professional stuff from me and Marvellous PR that really would conquer those 3 things. Because the bottom line is you need to have confidence that what you're going to be getting out there will work, and then the journalists will start listening to you. So let's have a look. This is what I'm going to give you. I have a cast your eye and amend service, and I've done loads of these for people. I've done them for thousands of business owners, and I will give you that for any of your press releases for 12 months from the start of the program. So there's no limit on how many press releases you're going to write, and as often as you write them, so that we can make sure that they are newsworthy, they're well written, because they'll be written by the right people, and they'll be in the best shape possible to get journalists' attention. And that the value of that for us in Marvellous PR would be £150 per press release. So we're going to put that in as well as the step-by-step course. And the second bonus I'm going to give you is my press release templates, which we have spent time really creating professionally written in the format that we know journalists like them, so that you literally can lift them, put your own names in, your own information, but you can lift them and use them, and they should get coverage. I say should just because PR is PR. You never know whether things are going to get used, but they will have the best chance of being used. That's what I can tell you. And they cover charity support, when you're a charity, a general comment on something like that newsworthy thing I was telling you about, an award win, a new recruit to business, a new product case study, new product launch, announcing an event. Everyone has events. And a big one, the wording and layout of a pitch email, what you sell to journalists. Now, those are worth £125 rather per template. So that's a package of £1,000 worth. And my third bonus is that we, as I was saying to you, we have a media database, a fantastic database that we subscribe to for £3,000 a year. And but it's huge and really valuable. And on there basically is all the details of every journalist and blogger, what they like, how they like things presented to them, what subjects they cover, what they're interested in. And within this package, we would do the search for you. So we'd make sure that you have the right information about the right journalist that you're wanting to approach. And that your contribution to that, if it was to be a cost, would be £297. So that's adding in, we've now got the course, the Cast Your Eye service over the press releases, a set of press release templates, the database to make sure that your press release is written properly. And the fourth bonus is we access these journalist databases I was telling you about. We have to subscribe to them. We pay about £1,000 a year, depending on what categories of business we're applying for. But we would sort that out for you. So you make sure that you are getting alerts from the right journalists and you are going back to them as fast as you can. And that we will put in. Again, it's a big annual package subscription, so that's pretty much average what your contribution would be. Now, the total of all that would be £3,244. But because I want to get this going and I'm launching it and I really, really, really want you to do it and be on there with me, I have an early bird offer till the 5 o'clock on Sunday of just £997 plus that. Or you could do it in 3 payments of £340 plus that. And after that, it will revert back. And I really do want you to get from the shadows into the spotlight, because that's where the power is and that's where the money is. So again, there's the offer. It's £997 or 3 installments of only £340. There's the link. Please go to the link. That gives you all the information about it again anyway. www.shadowstospotlight.co.uk. And I did promise you I'd show you a few people who've worked with me recently and how they got on. And I don't know if any of you know the lovely Jane. She's so beautiful. She runs Little Voices franchise for children to learn about singing and dancing and acting. She's been working with me or my previous toolkit, and she got £50,000 worth of new business. She says in 4 days, we had 5 articles published, including the Daily Mail and the Guardian. As a result, we had 176 applications for lessons and 18 franchise inquiries. That was £50,000. And she did that all herself, learning from me, doing it as I told her to do it. And here's the gorgeous Leona Barr-Jones, who the other day sat down next to someone at an event, she says, and the chap turned around and said, "Oh, I've just read your great article on leadership. She says, I'd never met him before, but he knew who I was, and it led to a referral." And that's, again, why you're doing this. You're doing this to get that expert status so that if you, for all sorts of reasons, if you want to exit the business and go somewhere else, people will Google you. And if you're coming up as quoted in about what you do in the right places and seen as the expert, not only will you get better, you'll get better jobs or whatever, if that's where you want to go after you leave your business. Your business will be more valuable when you come to sell it. You'll get better recruits coming to work for you because they again will see you everywhere. You'll get investors wanting to invest in you because they don't know, but they'll think this looks like a good company. The guy knows what he's talking about. We should be part of this. And it's it's also with this kind of thing, with PR, with working with journalists, it just grows and grows, because once one journalist has used you and you've said something of interest, someone else will then probably come to you and go, oh, I'd like him commenting on my thing, actually. And actually, then you start to snowball, and that's where people end up being the person who's quoted on the radio for health or property or whatever it is. You become the expert. Now, I have rattled through that in true fashion. I probably had far too many cups of coffee this morning. But are there any questions? Would anyone like to post a question? I can see there is a little place for questions on my webinar thing today. So does anyone have any questions? Is there anything I haven't covered, or anything you'd like me to expand on? If I'd love, oh, someone said that's great. That's very kind. Said, well, very, very useful, which is lovely. Thank you. But if there's seriously, if there's any questions, I haven't put my email address on here, but if anything occurs to you when you're now going off and thinking about PR, I'm Lucy, very simply, lucy@marvellouspr.co.uk. In fact, you'd have probably got that from an email from me anyway. Do come back to me. I'd love to hear from you. And I'd love you to join me. So I can say, do please look at our shadowsofspotlight.co.uk. Come and join me. This offer will only last until Sunday the 19th. And there's a promo code here called FAST. So put that in and then you'll get the discount. But if there's no more questions and everyone's having a lovely... Oh, there might be, actually. Let me just see. I'm just working out my thing here. Lovely, lovely, lovely to see you in virtual terms. This is it's what life's all about, isn't it? And have a lovely afternoon. And thank you so much for joining me. And do spread the word. We should all be doing PR, and I'm absolutely your woman for getting you guys geared up and doing it. Okay, so bye-bye. Have a good afternoon.